because we talked about that. All right, so our next speaker is in the room. I'm sure she's going to pop her picture open, I believe, as soon as we introduce her. So let me introduce you. There she is. Hello. So Dr. Shahana Alibhal, how are you? She is an incredible TEDx speaker. She's a doctor. We're super grateful that she's in our country, in our province, doing incredible work with youth. She's a TEDx speaker on emotional literacy. She's absolutely an author, and we'll have to do an extra jazz hand and some hearts and a big wraparound because she is launching her book tomorrow, Mel Robbins' endorsed book called Feel Better, and is releasing on the 26th. We're so excited for you. Thank you so much for joining us. I believe you saw her on the 262 stage earlier, and we are going to pass this over to you.
Thank you so much. And speaking of being adaptable, apologies. Sitting in the car in the pouring rain, I'm soaking wet, just finished a cross-country meet for one of my 3 boys. So this is what it means, right? This is real life. This is exactly how we show up in our day-to-day. And I'm just so thankful to be part of a community that gets it, understands it, and celebrates it as well, too. So, Deb gave me 10 minutes today, and I love that because I think I can deliver one key point. But I always want to start with a story because, as she mentioned, I'm the medical director at the Foundry Abbotsford. We serve youth between the ages of 12 and 24, and everyone listening today loves a youth or has a youth in their life that they are currently parenting or coaching, right? It affects all of us too, and all of us, we were once youth ourselves. So not that long ago, I had a 17-year-old. We were trying to push him towards graduation. He was already a year behind. He was almost turning 18. He was drinking too much, doing too much weed, not showing up for classes, not handing in his assignments. So I was coaching him through it. He didn't need medication. He needed a mindset shift. One day he comes to me and says, Dr. Alibhal, he's like, most of the times I can do what you tell me, but sometimes the F it radio just comes on. I was like, what? He's like, the F it radio. I said, I really don't know what you're talking about. He's like, that radio station in your head that tells you, I can't, I never, I should, see, I always. And then I got it. Because if I know out of anybody, moms do this all the time. Should all over yourself. I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And as you're listening to me, you should be doing your Kegels. We know this, right? We know this. So it's mom's aunt. So when he put it this way, I'm like, now I know what you're talking about. What he's talking about is the inner narrator, the inner chatter, the inner typographer that we all have in our brain, constantly narrating our response, our perception of a situation, not the situation, but our perception of that situation. And if it still doesn't make sense to you, remember the analogy of when you first dove off a diving board. All of us remember that. I remember going up, trying to follow my sister and going, I want to go back down. I was so scared, but I couldn't because there was a lineup of people behind me. Who in your inner voice is telling you, you got this? I believe in you. You can jump. Or are you like the woman who came up to me a couple of months ago and says, I know what voice that is. It's a voice that tells me, don't think too much of yourself. It's getting to your head. And I looked her straight in the eyes and whose voice is that? It's the voice of my dad, she told me. So you get to decide whose voice, whose inner chatter is going to dominate your world. Now we could spend an hour talking about inner chatter, but there's 3 tips that right now you can implement to understand, to mitigate, and to even optimize that inner chatter. Number 1, use your name. Last night I had a really hard time falling asleep, and it's so easy to say, oh, I should be asleep right now, and I'm going to have such a hard time waking up tomorrow, and I. Don't say I. Don't say I. Say your name. Deb. Shahana. Shahana, you got this. Shahana, it's going to be okay. When you speak to yourself using your name, you create a little bit of distance. Ironically, you are kinder to yourself instead of saying, I never, I can't, I should, because we've had decades of experience putting ourselves down. So the next time you fall into the I trap, teach this to your kids, teach this to your adolescents, use your own name. You automatically become a bit softer, a bit kinder to yourself. The second tip is thinking about what would a person I respect in this situation do? Some of us might have heard of the adage WWJD if you follow a certain faith. But what about WWBD? What would Beyonce do? What would Taylor Swift do? What would any of the people that you love, respect, admire, even your parents, even a coach, even a pastor, what would they do? Why does this work? Because just like a camera lens, it allows you to zoom out of the situation. It's not you anymore. It's what would someone you love, someone you respect, someone you admire do in that very same situation. I love in the chat. What would, yeah, exactly. Fill in the chat too. Who was that person? Who was that person, right? And I just used Beyonce because it was an easy one to use, but I'm sure if I had girls at home, they would be saying Taylor Swift. The third one is, can you do a mental time travel? Can you do mental time travel in the sense, if there was an issue that happened to you today, I was almost half an hour late for a clinic that I run at a high risk school. These kids are in dire need of support. Me showing up late doesn't feel good to me, to them, to all of the youth workers. So I'm already walking in, beating myself up. But am I going to remember that in a week, a month, a year? Probably not. Once again, this takes you out of the situation. What we want to do in our life, we've all played catch on one of those Velcro mitts with our kids, where you have a tennis ball, you have that Velcro mitt, and it's like that whoop suction. What would someone do? Temporal time travel, mental time travel, and using your name allows you to unstick. It allows you to look at the situation for what it is and not let your perceptions mar what you're seeing. So those are 3 simple, easy tips that you can use right now to help optimize and even better yourself, because you can only better your life if you get a handle of this first. Hope that helps.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Let's do some love, love, love for cold mama in the car.
Yeah.
Cold mama in the car. I love that. And if you can, put your information in the chat.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have your Amazon link. We're super excited for you for launching. A lot of us know what launching looks like. We're in one right now. Thank you for being a part of this. Congratulations on that. And absolutely. And she's also got an incredible TEDx talk that you can go and see. I love that. And you know what's interesting is that when my son Ocean sent me a text today, and I ran him around, to get him a credit card or whatever today. And he sent me a text and he said, "Thanks, Mom." And when he used my, name per se, my name for him, it landed so differently. I was like, "Oh, I think that's really powerful. I think that's really great." And I think it also probably would stop because no one wants to talk to themselves like that, right? So
Absolutely.
good. So good. I love that. And that's what I think the best of personal development and business development. And I don't think I need to sit here and get on to pitching to you the power of what happens to your business when you really go deep into the personal development, and also vice versa. When a lot of times when you start building your business, it requires a different level of personal development, right? Things are going to show up and you're like, I need to look at that. I need to wonder that, like that. Who's that voice in your head, right? What's stopping her? And then she has an opportunity to work on that. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Yay.